as the next Prime Minister by everyone except your own party. But my question is, so why aren't you the official Prime Minister candidate of the Congress Party as of yet?
Our system is very different from the American system. The parliamentary system means that the party decides who to put forward in these situations. Even the ticket as who to put forward in a constituency is decided by the party, unlike in America where the voters decide through a primary system. There's nothing like that here. So whereas an Obama can emerge from nowhere, surprise the established incumbent councillor, become a councillor, run in the Senate and become a senator, and his first term as a senator, run in the primary to be president and become the nominee of his party and win, we have no equivalent in India. It just is not possible to have an Obama-type career in India. It's as simple as that. We are a vast country. We have 543 parliament seats, and it's not the individual merit of one person that matters. It is who can get a majority, that is more than 272 MPs, to vote in favor of his or her government. And that means organized parties. So essentially, we're in a situation where, at the moment, there is an opposition coalition. I think the chances that there could be a surprise result in the election next year are much better than they were even 6 months ago. So we'll have to wait and see. But I think that once the result comes out, then because it's a coalition and not one party, the leaders of those parties will have to get together and pick someone. But my guess is from the Congress party, it's bound to be either Mr. Kharge, who would then be the first Dalit Prime Minister of India, or Rahul Gandhi, since in very many ways it's a family-run party. But at the same time, the merit of a parliamentary system is that the Prime Ministers are first among equals. And the other ministers also have great responsibility for their work. And whatever responsibilities may be assigned to me, I'm confident I can do full justice to. That's the way our system works. When I came back to India from many years abroad, I knew those were the challenges and the opportunities that existed, so I calibrated my expectations accordingly. And I'm very grateful that the voters of Thiruvananthapuram have voted for me 3 times in a row, which has already made me the longest serving MP in the history of Thiruvananthapuram. No one has lasted so the opportunity to serve this place, the beautiful capital of a wonderful state, is already very satisfying. And then we'll see what the future holds. I mean, I'm not going to be doing this till I'm carried out feet first. I'll work as long as I can, as long as I feel I can make a difference. And at the moment, I still think I am making a difference, so I'll continue doing that. Thank you.
Sir, how do you go about inventing words like the floxy-nosy?
It's not my invention. These are all words that really exist. I just read widely so I come across them. Okay. Floxy-nosy nihilification was invented in the middle of the 19th century and was invented as a joke, which means the act of estimating someone or something as worthless. And it's a compound of Latin and Greek roots, which mean nothingness. And that was the idea. But it was clever, it was funny. So I knew it in St. Stephen's College in the early 70s. One read a lot. I mean, there's a great blessing in some ways that there wasn't any mobile handheld telephone to distract you. There was no Nintendo, PlayStation, video games, computers, laptops. So the only thing you could do if you weren't going out and just loafing around, as the saying goes, was to read. And through reading, one learned a lot. I'm afraid that may be a vanishing pastime, but anyway, it's mine. Sure, young lady.
I would like to ask that Gen Z would love to have an articulate and educated Prime Minister running your country. So what should Gen Z do in order to achieve that?
Look, I mean, I think that we have to work within the system we've got. There's a constitution, the constitution itself rules. But I think what we can do is we can start creating a sort of certain momentum. I've often said in my own writings and speeches that as the electorate becomes better educated, it will expect better people to represent them. At the moment, the fact is that the bulk of our electorate, in the past certainly, was both unlettered and more concerned with the basic realities of daily life. Which politician can give them free or subsidized rice, cheaper electricity, water. These are the things that still motivate the bulk of our thing. By the time you become a little older, perhaps there'll be a more enlightened electorate around you. And then, frankly, countries take time to evolve. I'm not expecting necessarily to be around to be a beneficiary of that desire. But you know, one can blaze a path for the next generation, and there should be opportunities for others to rise and do that. Already, I would say there's some very significant change in the kind of people coming into politics, and more people from a professional background are looking at politics as a viable and important avenue for activity. So hopefully you will get more people of the kind that you want. But the best answer is let your generation produce its own leaders, and then you can vote for them with pride. That'll have to be the last question, I'm afraid. Go ahead. Thanks.
So some years ago, you were suggesting that Trivandrum will be the twinning city, like Barcelona pattern. So will that be a reality in future?
No, I did everything. I went to Barcelona, met the mayor, the people in the city council. They even heard of Thiruvananthapuram. They passed a resolution. They put aside money in a budget because in those days they had the money for international cooperation. But we had the misfortune of a communist government running the city. So I came back, I gave this to the mayor. I told him, this is all yours. I've done this for you. You can, the free agreement signed. These people will come. And he never even brought it to the municipal council for a vote or a discussion. And of course in Kerala everything gets politicized, so after a while, when 6 months had gone by, the Congress councillors made a fuss about why wasn't this brought. They gave some specious excuse, and meanwhile, the government in Barcelona that I negotiated this with, they lost the election and the resolution lapsed. Thereafter, Spain itself went through a financial crisis. Thereafter, a new right-wing bunch of people came into power, and they were no longer interested in cooperating with Thiruvananthapuram. So it was petty politics in Kerala that sunk the Barcelona project. So I've made this very clear, but this is again the irony of our situation is the communists have been in power in the city government for 45 years. You saw the benefits of their rule when it rained 2 days ago. And you saw practically every junction was flooded, the drains are all clogged, basic municipal services are not being provided. It's really shocking that people who have allowed this once beautiful city to go to ruin are still repeatedly being elected because people don't bother when they come and vote. They vote according to ideological lines. And this is one of the challenges we have in our city. Most of the people who care about these issues, who understand how the city should be run, they don't bother to show up and vote. And the result is that those who are willing to turn out their cadres to go and knock on doors and come and vote, they win elections. It's really a very, very tragic situation. I first came to Thiruvananthapuram as a 10-year-old child. We were growing up in Bombay. And I remember to this day such a vivid experience. We were staying at friends of my parents. There was this thunderous monsoon shower. Really, really extraordinary amount of rain. Went on for a few hours. At the end of it, within 5 or 10 minutes, the streets near this gentleman's house were bone dry. So I said to my father, how can this be in Bombay? A rain like this is an opportunity for young men to stand by the side of the road to push your car because it's stalled on the roads and make some money on the side. How did this happen? My father said, this is Thiruvananthapuram for you. Every road is built to a certain curvature. There are drains on both sides. The rain immediately flows into the drains flow into the canals flow into the sea. It's perfect, there was never any flooding in Thiruvananthapuram. That was 1966 or 67. And when I came back, 4 decades later to look at politics here, I found that after every rain, junctions were flooded. And in the 15 years that we've been trying to change the city government, nothing has changed. And I'm sorry to say that this is partly the reality of our politics, that the idea of politics as service to people, actually influencing and bettering the daily lives of people, that has not sunken into the minds of every voter or every politician. And many politicians use vote getting for essentially ideological purposes. And if you read all the political articles in the newspapers and so on, it's all about egos, ambitions, political, ideological issues, differences, superficial controversies about whether women can cover their hair or should not cover their hair. That was the latest one last week. I mean, this kind of stuff is not what improves the daily quality of life of people. But those are the issues on which the debates take place on television and the votes are cast. So I think what we need is really people of your generation have a great opportunity to start organizing yourselves, demanding the right things from your political representatives, saying that we want to see you accountable for this and this and this. But if you don't care, then they get a free pass. If you care and bother them, I must say, as a political representative now for 15 years, I can tell you that the squeaky wheels always get the most grease. The people who come and complain to me about something, they will get attention. Unfortunately, 95% of those who come to me, and they come without appointment, they come in the hundreds every day, they come for personal favors. They want a son transferred, they want a husband to get another job, they want a loan to be waived or interest to be waived on a loan that they couldn't pay, all sorts of personal issues. That's what most people in India have been brought up to believe an MP is there for. But the few who come for development matters, I treat them with a lot more interest because development, growth will benefit everyone. Doing a personal favor for one person I have to do in order to stay viable in politics, but that helps one person or one family. So it's very important for us to use politics as a means to better the lives of everybody, but it's important for you all as citizens of this country and as voters to use your vote intelligently, to hold politicians accountable, to demand. What I dislike very much is when I meet people who say we're not interested in politics. I'm sorry, I tell them, politics is interested in you because the politicians are making decisions that affect your life every single day. The decisions they're making or not making are influencing how you live, where you live, what taxes you pay, whether there's electricity lighting the street lamp on your streets, whether there is whether your home is flooded because the drains in the road outside are clogged. All of these things affect all of you. Why don't you make it a point to be interested in politics and get politicians in who will get something done for you? That's what I say to all of you. And it's not just this, of course. There are 3 levels of government. There is the municipality, which is what we were talking about just now. But there are also certainly issues of the state government and issues of the national government. And you really, all of you, as intelligent thinking adults, you need to care. Because it's only when you care that we can build a better India. Yes, I know we've got to go. My signal has come. 5:45 is here. Thank you all very, very much. It's been a great pleasure. We will see more of each other, I'm sure.